Hello, Australia. Tim Dwyer here, and just want to put a little quick video out and let you know that the fight still goes on. Freedom must be kept at all costs. And some of the boys and girls that are pushing for freedom have been, what shall we say, accosted by those in black clothing, but still the fight goes on. And this just is an indication of how desperate they are to do what they're going to try and do. What I want to do now is I want to share the screen with you guys, and I want to have a little history lesson if we can. And just so as that, we know that history repeats itself. And when we went to school, we were taught these things. And so this is just like being back in school. One of the most evil dictators of all time was Adolf Hitler. Regardless of the slaughter that happened in the battlefields, he was responsible for 17 million civilians being killed, men, women, and children. It didn't matter to him. It was a eugenics process, cleansing of the people, of the races. And Joseph Stalin, well, we know about him. We learned about him at school. And he only killed 23 million of his compatriots. That's pretty much the whole population of Australia, but it didn't matter to him. He was okay with that, because you've got to understand these people are soulless. You can't look at it as a normal person would. These people have no compassion, no soul. And Mao only killed somewhere between 49 and 78 million people. And again, don't sit there and try and figure out how these people could do that. They are not like you. They are not like me. Their soul is dead. Their soul is dead. And Mao, the breakdown of policy reforms like the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution is what he tried to bring forward, and killed millions. Sounds a bit like this Great Reset that these people are talking about. I'm not sure how the history will repeat that. But anyway, let's have a little look at the history here. Remember, this is a history class. You see, here's another dictator, and he has a dubious past, according to the USA headline news. And if you want to go back and look at his history, it is not nice. It just is not nice. Now, this fellow here, he has an absolute burn for a global eugenics program. So what he wants to do is bring forward into humanity transhumans, which is part machine, part man, part woman. And he is the head of the World Economic Forum. A lot of people in political power get donations from this organization. And this man here, he's made some very interesting statements which will record in history. They will go down in history. So this is a history lesson. And possibly the greatest danger to mankind is this thing. He said, quote, the COVID outbreak is the first big step towards unprecedented control over mankind. That was his take on it. He saw this as an unprecedented control over mankind. Why would you want to control all of mankind? I don't, like I said, you can't get into the heads of these people because they're soulless. They are soulless. So this man clearly sees himself as deposing and taking over the throne from God himself. And we'll see how that works out. Now, this is what he said, right? Now, more than 5 years ago, World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab gave an interview in which he promised that an implantable global health pass microchip would be unveiled within the next 10 years to track and control all of humanity. You've got to ask yourself the question, why? Good God, if you've got a family full of teenage kids, you can't control them. Why would you want the whole lot? Makes no sense. Now, an article by Ethan Huff from Natural News, even though the Wuhan virus had not yet been unveiled by the medical deep state, Schwab already knew that a catalyst would soon come that would forever change the landscape of our world by design. As part of his globalist Great Reset agenda, Schwab explained that eventually it will be a requirement for humans to be microchipped in order to buy and sell, just like in Revelation. And if you think you can talk sense to Satanists, you are mistaken. I've said it before, these people have no soul. You cannot make reason with them. They are beyond reason. You see, these evil, godless, soulless people, to them, your life is theirs to control. You know, like a cow, like a sheep, like a pig, like a chook, and like these Jewish fellows here that got out of Auschwitz. And how will they do it? Well, they'll use these items to do it, and they'll mandate it. And everybody who goes, oh, well, this will be good. Well, ask the cow and the sheep and the pig and these guys how it works out for them. And don't forget the chooks. It was Stalin who grabbed a chook one day and plucked every feather out of it. And the chook screamed in pain. It was in terrible pain. He plucked every feather out of it whilst it was alive. And then he put the chook down on the ground and started dropping small bits of wheat. And the chook pecked at the wheat and took the wheat, and blood was running out of every hole where the feather came out of. The chook was in agony, but he followed Stalin around picking up the wheat. And Stalin said, see, you can do anything to the people or the animals as long as you give them a reason to follow you. Nothing's changed, people. The psychology's the same. You see, the track and the trace and the control. You know, you've got phones with QR codes, check in here, track and trace and control. All over Australia, we have warrantless, meaning there is no warrant from a court for mass surveillance of free, healthy people, facial recognition, CCT cameras wired to a national facial recognition database is about to change Australia forever. And your phone has an IMEI number in it. It's trackable all over the world. QR codes, check in here, check in there. The government needs to know just where you are, because you see, they want you to all become transhumanists. They're part human, part bot, the Borg. Ladies and gentlemen, the more you capitulate to track and control and track and trace, the worse it's going to get. Stay 1.5 meters apart. Why? Well, the facial recognition cameras can't pick you up if you're too close together. It's all about track and trace and control. These are transhumanists. They want you connected to the net. They want you connected to 5G. They want you connected to everything. You see, will these people make history? How many millions might be killed by their satanic lust for power? I don't know. I have no idea, but I will tell you it will be millions. And 100 years from now, the history books will record what I just read out about Hitler and Stalin and Mao. And these are the names and the faces that people will be recording. Have we learnt nothing? Are we that ignorant? You know, here in Australia, there was a saying, how do you know a politician's lying? Well, his lips are moving. And now all of a sudden, every word they say is the truth. Give me a break. You see, these are not your friends. These are the enemies of truth and freedom. These are the people who are doing the work for those we've just seen. These are the people on the payroll of those people. And each of these people are guilty of high treason and malfeasance of office, and they are criminals at large. These are the people who are working for those who would make you slaves and destroy your freedoms and your families. And you think, oh, Tim, come on, you're being silly. Well, this bloke here, Brendan Murphy, last year, when this potential pandemic, and that's what it was. That's what the Governor General called it, a potential pandemic, came out. This bloke, Murphy, he said over 200,000 Australians could die from this virus, men, women, and children. He put the fear of God in everybody. He terrorized people. And for that, he got a promotion. He used to be the chief medical officer. Now he's the secretary in the medical department. So he gets a bonus. But he terrorized Australia. And the chief medical officer, Paul Kelly, he's just echoed the same thing over and over and over again. Fear, fear, fear. And I don't know whether you know it or not, but there's nobody in hospital at the moment. There's nobody dropping dead in the streets. And this thing is so incredibly contagious that the people that have got it don't even know they're sick because they can't feel any symptoms. Imagine that. The greatest trick the government ever pulled off was to convince most people they could be sick without having any symptoms. Well, those that got fearful enough went and decided to protect themselves against this most hideous thing. And these are the results from around the world. Of those who sought relief from the fear to protect themselves, in the UK, 1,164 of them have died because of the medication. In the USA, 4,045 have died because of that medication. And in Europe, 10,500 have died because of that medication. Eye disorders from that medication, including blindness, nearly 24,000 people. Vascular disorders, including blood clots, 66,700. Nervous systems disorders, 171,187. General disorders, including death, 250,964. And reproductive disorders, i.e. spontaneous miscarriages, losing the placenta, it's just horrendous. The women can't stop the bleeding. It is just horrendous. There's only 5,046 of those. And by the way, in the animal trials for these things, every animal that was tested with it died. Every animal died. And so what I'd like to do now is just hope that you lose your faith in those who call themselves government. Understand that they are not there for your benefit. That ship sailed out of this harbour a long time ago. And it is now falling upon the shoulders of the ordinary man and woman, you, me, everybody else out there, to try and bring sense into this world. And you say, Tim, how could that keep going on if those figures were true? Well, I've already told you. They are godless, soulless people. Trying to talk compassion to them is ridiculous. You might as well talk to a brick wall. Nicholas Spurrier is on television telling people to go to the new vaccination centres. It's safe. It's not safe. It's an experiment, and you're the experiment. Well, my time is up. I'll speak to you again another day. Bye for now.